So, I don't know about you all, but when I started my art journey, I did it all wrong. I spent a lot of time drawing my favorite anime characters like Goku and Trunks and Vegeta, and I realized very quickly that though I was drawing my favorite anime, it didn't really help when I wanted to draw something more realistic or even more stylized in my own style. I realized very quickly that the people who were drawing those anime characters already knew how to draw realistic, and the anime was just them drawing in their style. It took me a little bit to kind of figure that out. I don't know why that wasn't, obvious to me in the beginning, but when I finally got my first iPad, I started drawing anime, and I really wanted to learn manga and stuff like that without even knowing anything about anatomy or the Loomis method or some of these other methods that are out there. And it took a really long time to slow down and find other artists that weren't anime character creators and start to emulate some of those guys. And so today I want to talk to you guys about 5 things that helped me become a better artist over time. So step 1 for me was simply stop drawing anime. As stupid as that sounds, I just needed to stop looking at anime characters like Goku and Vegeta and some of these other guys, and I needed to look at real life references. I needed to stop drawing other people's style and learn what real life looked like so that way I can create my own style. And so when I finally realized that, it took me a little while on, figuring out how to do that and how to do it the right way, and how to not do it the wrong way. And I'll pull up pictures on, Pinterest or Google Images or some of these other websites, Instagram, and I would try to just draw the picture, but it would just look off, like some of the portions were off, or it just didn't look like the person I was trying to draw. And so I would study other artists, and I would try to figure out, I would go to YouTube and I would go to how to draw faces or how to draw bodies or how to draw clothes or the torso and, different things like that. And over time, different artists led me to different websites, and one of the first things that really stood out to me was a website called Sketch Daily. And this website really helped me out because it gave me a random picture and it let me set a time limit, maybe, a minute to 5 minutes, sometimes even 10 minutes, and it allows you to draw the picture as you see it. But once the time goes out, the picture changes. And so it put me in a position where I was forced to really study the picture and really study what I was drawing and take out all the detail and really get down to the nitty gritty on different parts of the body. And so I did that. I think I started off at maybe 10 minutes on each pose or each picture, and I would go a little bit lower, maybe to 5 minutes, and then I think I went as low as 3 minutes and sometimes even 1 minute if I really just kind of want to, get some quick sketches out. And the purpose of these sketches isn't to, make it super realistic. It's really just to get the main idea out on paper and out of your brain and onto the pad. And so that really helped a lot. And then gesture drawing. I had a lot of trouble with gesture drawing in the beginning simply because a lot of my pictures started off really, really blocky and they just didn't feel like they had any life to them. They were really blocky and just didn't have, they didn't have that life that you see a lot of other characters have in a lot of other, artist pictures. And so I spent a lot of time doing gesture drawings, and I took the same approach. I would go to Sketch Daily. I would do more of a body pose or hands or, whatever area I was having trouble with, and I would put a time limit on, and I would draw as if there was not really a wrong way to do so. And eventually in doing this, not only did I get better and faster, I also started to develop my own style in the way I drew. After I did that for a while, I kind of backtracked a little bit and moved on to what I like to call step 3, which is references from Pinterest for more of a realistic approach. Now that I knew how to sketch correctly and I knew how to maybe get the gestures, a bit closer to what the picture showed versus what I imagined, I was able to go back to Pinterest, pull up a picture that I like, and try to create the exact picture because I learned how to give life to the picture, and I learned how to not try to focus too much on the details. Pinterest, obviously, if you guys have done any, looking on Pinterest at all, you have an array of different things you can look at, from animals to people to buildings, environments, backgrounds, emotions. Really, you have everything at your fingertips when you're on Pinterest. And so for me, what I did was I started off wanting to draw people, and I wanted to draw people in certain places that kind of related to the background. So if I was to go back into some of my old pictures, they're all like women doing something. I don't know, for whatever reason, I really like to draw women. That was just, for me, that was where I started off. I saw Sam Does Art draw a lot of women, and I liked how his work turned out. And so I figured I'd take some tips from him and some other artists that I really liked at the time and kind of come up with my own. Now, step 4 is really blending step 2 and 3. So as you're doing your gesture drawings and as you're sketching every day, when you combine that with, you know, some of the more realistic art pieces you're doing from Pinterest, you can kind of combine the two. You can take this realistic picture and add a more gestured approach to it. I wouldn't necessarily say start off with that in the beginning. I'd really dial in on gesture drawing and, you know, sketching, or I would focus on more a realistic approach first. And then as you get better at that, I would start to combine the two. And that way you can kind of push the limits to some of these things. You really want to get the anatomy down before you start to change the anatomy. And I believe that's where stylization comes in place, is when you learn what you're doing and you kind of exaggerate it a little bit. And so step 4, I feel like you can only really do once you master step 2 and step 3. And finally, step 5, repetition. All you got to do here is do steps 2, 3, and 4 over and over and over and over and over again. And eventually you'll master your craft, you'll master your style, you'll master the gestures. Sketching will become easy. When you see a picture, you can decide, do I want to make this a stylized portrait or do I want to make this a more realistic portrait? And at that point, the art is at your fingertips. You can do whatever you want to with it. You'll finally become the artist that you wanted to become in the first place. Then you can go back to where you were when you started off and you can draw your own anime. You can draw your own characters. You can go back and draw Dragon Ball Z characters and not feel like you have no clue what you're doing because you learned everything. And so that's pretty much it, guys. I don't think that there's too much more to it. I think it just takes time and it takes repetition, and over time you'll get it. So with that, guys, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Go hit that subscribe button, like the video, and comment your thoughts below. Peace.